So I had just gotten out of a 2-year relationship, and I wanted to like treat myself. This girl, she didn't let me do some things I wanted to do in my personal life, and I was like, okay, well, you know what? Now I've got the reins back to my life. So I decided I'm gonna play World of Warcraft again. I'm gonna do it. Just go out there and figure my life out on the World of Warcraft. And yeah, just as soon as I got back in, I was just looking for a group to play with, and some kid whispers me and is like, hey, join us. We're kind of new, but we're figuring it out. It's like, okay, fine. And I don't know if it was my idea or her idea, but someone said that we should just go somewhere in the game.
It was these were like 12-year-olds we were playing with. You didn't know that. I knew that because I was part of that group of 12-year-olds. I was 14. I was 14, not 12. But yeah, and our friend, he's like, let's just go do some stuff together. Let's go kill some enemies. So I was like, sure. And then this new guy that joined also said, yeah, I'll go. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then he comes up and starts annoying me immediately. And we went to do stuff. We chatted for like a day, and then I had to leave for a week. So I met him one day. He said, get Skype, back when like Skype was like newish. I was like, what the heck is Skype? Whatever, sure. He told me to get Skype, and then he disappeared for a week. And then the week he gets back, I disappear for a week because my brother had a wrestling tournament.
Oh yeah, I went to DC.
He went to Washington, what happened. DC. Yours was a little more fun than mine.
It wasn't that fun.
And then he didn't tell me this till later, but while I was gone, one of my friends gave him my Facebook. So he was stupid on me way before I got back. And then he said one of my favorite things, and by favorite, I mean I hate it. I get back and he's like, Kesha. And I'm like,
I don't know what possessed me to say that.
But yeah, this was like right in the summer. So we were both on summer vacation in high school, and we just started playing a lot because he joined with us. He showed me how to play the game because I hadn't played a lot. Well, I mean, I hadn't ever played at like max level. So we started playing together and turned into like, gaming sessions till 5 a.m. And
yeah,
we'd both go to bed, cheesing, smiling. I remember like specifically our first month, we were just like, my face hurts from smiling. Yeah. And gosh, this is so long.
Yeah.
It's like we started dating after a month of like gaming together, and then that went really well. And then after a year of online dating, we finally met in person. He flew out here to Utah to see me, and our moms accompanied us, because we were both minors.
Oop. Well, I wasn't anymore. I was 18.
Oh. Whatever.
Yeah.
Senior. But yeah,
whatever.
We met in person. It was wonderful. Took them all around. We went to see like Great Salt Lake. We went to go Park City, all like the nice places in Salt Lake.
I really like that downtown area that we went to. Was that just in downtown?
No, it was just a mall. It's still there.
I don't know. It was fun.
It was a nice mall, yeah. And it went like just perfectly. Great 3 days. When he had to leave, we both cried. And then from there, we saw each other typically like once or twice a year.
I would even say once every like 3 months.
You think?
6 months.
Yeah. I don't think it was that often.
Because we'd meet for summer, spring break, and winter. So yeah, 3 times a year.
I didn't always go there for winter though.
Or I'd go out there.
Well, yeah, basically we would go back and forth visiting when we could. And I'm making it all sound smooth sailing, but everybody was very weird about it at first.
Yeah.
Like he's just making up an online girlfriend, and me, I'm just making up a guy so people will leave me alone. My parents think, he's a predator. They think I'm some like fake girl trying to scam him, or
this
not
was
even
before,
a girl.
This was before we met in
person. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
After that, after we met in person, started stuff, our parents kind of chilled out, but people still never like until we started like really like living together. People
Yeah.
were just like, yeah, sure, she's your girlfriend, whatever. She's cheating on you, and they'd say the same thing. Or like when he was about to go to college, you know, my parents were like, oh, college, he's gonna be way too busy for you, and he's gonna find somebody else. And I was like, like
They
we never, like,
underestimate that week that I played Skyrim. Just that was it. That was I didn't leave my dorm. I just played Skyrim for a week.
I was like, he hasn't been the type to leave his house. He's not gonna just suddenly start. But you know, I mean, we never really had like, despite what everybody said, we didn't really have like trust issues like that.
Yeah.
We were very phone clingy because, you know, we couldn't be there in person, so we just had to like text each other constantly or we'd freak out. And yeah, after 4 years, I graduated high school. A couple months after, I finally moved out to Florida. And then
I don't know. Then from there, yeah, we moved to Tallahassee because I was accepted to FSU. That was a
did the
fun
college thing.
experience. Yeah, you
Living
know,
together was honestly not like,
what.
I'm trying to say, like, not bad. Like, people like, you move in with somebody and you like learn things about them and you're like, oh gosh, this is not how I thought they were at all. But I mean, we're exactly the same in person. Like, we'd always
I got what I signed up for.
Yeah, then after 10 years, was it 10 years we got married, or
I think it was after 9.
9?
Yeah, 9 years, and then we got married.
Because we got married before COVID.
Correct.
And that's the marker now. Is before COVID or after?
Though I would say the only weird thing about our relationship is that our wedding day actually means nothing to, or I shouldn't even call it a wedding day. You know, our actual marriage anniversary means like nothing. We actually just celebrate the day that we got together.
Yeah, it's more meaningful for us. I mean, not that we're not happy to be married, but you know, it's like at 9 years, it's like we felt like we've been married for like a while.
Yeah.
We'd always acted like married bigger couple anyway. So yeah, after that, you know, we've hauled up, moved out here.
Like, what drew you to Kesaia?
I mean, this is going to sound simple in theory, but very complex in practice. But you know, the feminine form that plays video games is by default appealing to a 16, 17-year-old young man, you know. It's that was the initial draw. But no, I fell in love with her very quickly. She was always very caring. She was always very invested in any issue I had or anything I was doing. You know, she was there to celebrate my victories. So while the initial "ooh, girl that plays video games" was the first draw, I very quickly realized that there was a lot more to her. And I guess I should give a more direct answer other than that. You know, I don't know. It kind of started as the simple thing, but whereas I realized that you know, she was really here for me in every way you could possibly imagine. It just, you know, it was just a slow build up to kind of what we have now.
That's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Oh, and I guess like Kesaia, what drew you to Derek?
Yeah, so honestly, when we first started talking about, you know, he was like, I was getting like fun guy vibes, and that's like the first thing, I guess, is like, you know how Derek is. You know, he's just loud, outgoing guy. Doesn't matter if you're like the president of the United States, he's gonna act exactly the same, be himself all the time. And I'm a very quiet person. I would say I'm definitely the introvert here. I mean, we're both introverts, but he's better at being extroverted. And
I can pretend.
He had his like cocky attitude, loud, outgoing, confident, and I was just kind of like drawn to that. I guess I was like, I need some of that energy. But I mean, I really approached it like friends, Like I just liked being friends with him at least. And when I started liking him, you know, it was online. This is 2010, and I was like, I'm 14, he's 17. He's not gonna like me, so I'm just gonna be content with being friends. Mainly, he made everything fun. He says like I was invested, but the way he gets invested in everything, it makes everything a lot more exciting than it is. I just really like enjoyed that. He
Fair
made
enough.
things fun, and you were also really eager to help me like get better at the game.
Yeah.
And you didn't like want anything. I mean, maybe you did want something in return. I don't know.
People to play with. That's what I wanted in return.
Gamer life.
It's like his opposing thing where he's could be a jerk, but you're also really helpful and nice. I liked that. So yeah, mainly it was that, and then mainly we had a lot in common too.
Yeah.
We had like a day on Skype where like, did you like Barney as a kid? Yeah, I like Barney as a kid. Do you like this movie? Yeah. It's just, I don't know, it's just like we had a lot in common. And for me, it's like how I grow to like somebody is I have to be like friends with them first, like really good friends. Then I'm like, I think I could date them. But I had like given up hope on that. So when he asked me out, I was like completely surprised. So I was just like, he's never gonna do it. Yeah, I'm like 14, it's online, it's not gonna work.
You were almost 50.
Yeah, I was. Well, it was like 4 months away.
Mm.
But yeah, I'd say that's it. It's just fun, outgoing energy was what drew me in, and then seeing how helpful and nice he was despite his rough exterior.
I always say my spirit animal is a sea urchin because I'm sharp and pointy on the outside, but soft and gooey on the inside.
Also, he's funny. He just blurts things out. Like, gosh, I remember the first time we went to the movies together, and it was like it was a scary movie. I don't remember the name of it, but it's this like intense scene. She's hiding in the shower. It's about to like pop out and like scream at her. Derek just like whispers into the whole like theater, like, I'm gonna eat your butt or something stupid.
God.
And the whole theater just starts snickering, and I'm like, oh my God.
That's hilarious though. Bravo.
Just like the boldness to do that and the fight. That's what I like. You're ridiculous.
You gotta go for it. Never pass up an opportunity for comedy. Even if that story is, that's really some like 2010s humor.
It's like, I know it's like a you had to be there thing, but it was just so funny. And it just stuck at me. I was like, who the heck else would do that? Nobody.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I said, your confidence, like, ooh, another thing, your like work ethic, but like about everything. You don't do anything halfway.
Mhm.
You need to do something, you
I'm
do
all
it
or nothing,
immediately. Yeah. Like if he gets into writing, he's like, I'm gonna write a book. He doesn't do it casually, which maybe you need some casual, but I still admire like how much you put into everything.
Okay.
And I also like, like I said, it's been a long, rough year for us. Whatever I need, whatever my family needs, he always just steps up, no hesitation. It hasn't been like me feeling, I don't have to feel bad or feel like I have to ask him to help. I mean, obviously we're married, but I guess, I don't feel like that would be so, like, you make it look really easy, even though it must be really hard.
I blame my dad. It's
Why?
I actually because he's kind of the same way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even he doesn't even necessarily have a plan yet, but he'll say, okay, we'll take care of this. We'll get it done. And I've just always looked to that as we'll just get it done. We'll figure it out. That's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We'll get it done.
Yeah, and you do. Ooh, another thing I thought of that I like is your willingness to communicate, I guess. Or rather, like you refuse not to. So when I would get mad at him while we were dating and online only, what I would do is I would just go to bed without saying goodnight. It made him so mad for no reason.
I get
And
that's gonna be something I blame my
now
dad
that we
for.
like once we moved together in person, I couldn't do that anymore. And I'm the type where I would try to go to bed mad. I'd like sleep on it. He's like, no, we're gonna talk. We're not gonna go to bed mad at each other. And he never lets us do that. And we never. There's like one rough time where we've had that happen, but either way, we still like talked about it.
Mhm.
You know, and if we have like issues with each other, it doesn't feel like I can't bring it up. I hope you feel the same way.
Yeah, no, of course.
And then just being able to do that with each other and just like point things out like, hey, I'd like it if you do this more, or it bothered me that you said that, or like anything like that. It's just really helped us help each other grow as people. And we've, especially since, you know, we started, you know, 14 and 17, we've gotten to like help each other grow up together. So it's been kind of wild if you think about it.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty crazy. First and foremost, just do it. And I'll elaborate on that. Is I feel like a lot of people get hung up on a situation of what if they say no, or there's always this big anxiety around dating. Just do it. Just do it. You know, again, the worst thing they can, I mean, I guess no, the worst thing they can say isn't just no, because they could laugh at you. But, you know, it's, you have to start somewhere. You know, you can't just, you know, you can't just live in your room all day, and or you know, you can't just be, if you're looking for a relationship, you can't just be kind of like floating by. You really need to, like, you know, latch onto the opportunities that do come by you. I don't know, you seem like you had one prep.
It's just more like at least the first thing coming to my mind, especially like watching my sister date but other people, it's like we kind of touched on like communicating earlier, but specifically just being willing to air your concerns and also be okay with theirs about you. Because it's not, if you take things like criticism, or like if they have issues with you, like something you do, or like one of your habits or something, and you just take it as an attack when it's not, you know, when it's not meant to be that way, you know, like don't take things like it's like you versus them. If you're willing, like, you know, you're not perfect. And despite, you know, what your first month love, you know, goggles got you thinking, they're not perfect either. And just being, I guess, being willing to acknowledge that, you know, they're a person, they're working on themselves, you're working on yourself. So they're not always going to be perfect. And just being willing to forgive them for that, or like work with them through that while they work with you on you. Because I think it's like, it's so easy to like go on Tinder and you're like, oh, not my standards. Oh, that was weird. Oh, nope, that's gross. That's like talked about with like you is, even though, you know, we've been together for a while, you know, I asked about is like previous relationships, you know, how they went. And I was like, yeah, no, she wasn't wrong there, but you could have done like better there. Not as a, like a, wow, you were really crappy.
Yeah, no,
It was just like, you know, just to give them like some perspective. Or, you know, like Derek helping me, like I was very like indecisive. I have a hard time like doing things, and rather than be like aggressive about it, be like, you're lazy. You know, he's like, okay, so how do I help you do things? How do we like schedule so that you can get stuff done? What do I need to do? Like just like being willing to make them a better person. Because I feel like that's what you'd want for yourself, right? It's like someone who makes you better. But you have to be willing to do the same in a relationship, I think. Versus like the second they don't meet your standards anymore, you just drop it, give up, or, you know, think less of them for it. Obviously, you know, there's some red flags that you can't fix. I'm not saying that, but, you know, like I said, like goes back to like how long we've been together. We've grown and changed so much. Like some things have stayed the same, but like how we are as people, the way, just so much has changed. And not like, like one thing you said is like when he met me, I was a little more bubbly, I'd say, a little more happy-go-lucky, and then I kind of like mellowed out through the years. I wasn't as clingy. After you've lived together 6 years, it's hard to be as clingy as you were when we're around each other all the time. But he didn't get mad, or you're not like, oh, you don't love me anymore. I mean, he kind of brought it up. He's like, it's clingy anymore. I'm like, yeah, well, we live together. And so it's, just explaining things, and he's like, yeah, I guess that's true. Just how we change like that. I'd say just make each other better people, or go in there with that mindset. Maybe. I mean, don't fix people. Gosh, but
I mean, on that, but before you, I do want to add on to what you were saying though. Is this is just a piece of advice, maybe to people who are in a new relationship or have only been together for a couple of years, is to expect change, because no situation is going to stay the same forever. It's and I will live by that 20 years from now. Things are going to change, so expect change from yourself, expect change from your partner, and be ready to, it's just this, I don't know, being in a relationship is this big complex machine where you need to expect the breakdowns, you need to perform maintenance, and you need to be ready for new updates, just all of it. So expecting change is a big piece of advice I would offer.
I don't really have too much advice for the single people. Like we met on a video game. That's it. We didn't deal like with any like Tinder stuff, anything like that. I know like that's like what a lot of people go to.
But I guess I kind of liked how Derek shifted the I also loved your comparison, by the way. I thought that was like fantastic, just like comparing it to a machine. But you're right, like with like status update, like I love like the imagery of that. But you're right, like even something like a machine that you think is rote and performs like in a certain way, like you said, like even like that as a concept, like reality, machines need to be updated, like there's maintenance and stuff. So sorry, I know that's like I'm trying to be like not add commentary, but I thought that was like a really good example. But I guess like so I guess well, since, and to your point, like since you guys met in high school, I liked how Derek maybe like rephrased the question to like maybe advice for people who are in new relationships or who've been together only for a couple of years. So do you have anything to to add with that?
I don't know, it's hard because yours like hit on that really good, is like expecting change, because usually like that first year, you're like floating together.
It's the honeymoon
phase,
yeah.
Right. But then, that dies off, you've asked each other all the questions that you can think of.
I still think of new ones sometimes. You do too.
Well, but like we'd literally play like the question game where it's like, okay, what's your favorite food? What's this? What's that? Eventually like
expect change, and then you can ask an all new set of questions because those things may have changed. Boom. Recycle or reduce, reuse, recycle.
Nice.
I mean, it's hard because it's not advice, because like trust is like a thing, but for us that was like the big thing, because we're online. He could have been off cheating on me, I could have been off cheating on him. There's no way of knowing unless someone like reported on us, I guess. But I can't imagine like dealing with that. Like we don't, like I can get on his phone at any time and he can get on mine, but never at any point were we like, give me your phone, let me see your phone, check that, who are you talking to, why are you talking to her? I was like, oh, I'm like, who's that? He's like, Danielle, she's my friend from high school. I'm like, oh, she's pretty. Yeah. It's just like not assuming the worst from them, or just like expect from them what you expect from yourself. So don't, because I'm hoping these couples are planning on like running around to cheat, but don't assume the worst from him. Don't assume like he's just, everything he's doing is something unfaithful, something to make you mad. just like have like just trust in them, I guess. I mean, obviously, you know, situations change, but I can't imagine like what it would have been like having to freak out every day that you were talking to some girl at college or something. And you doing the same, like, oh my gosh, my freshman year, you were like freaking out.
I was
thinking I was, because I started going to football games and I never go, but I was in high school because high school here starts, no, I like sophomore year. High school here started at 10th grade. And I was like, I'd never been, and I was going a few times, and it was so out of character for me that he like, you were like anxious about it. You're like, is she talking to somebody there? But I very quickly stepped on that and I was like, no.
Well, you've always been really good at setting boundaries for things though. And I think that's something that
Be willing
kind
to
of
do that.
let me trust you, was, you know, you very clearly laid out how things were, and that was that.
Yeah. Yeah, basically if
Also
you're with
boundaries. Ooh, that's
someone,
another,
you're scared of cheating.
rewind
like,
on the advice thing. Boundaries are very important.
yeah. Oh well. There's one boundary I can think of.
And when you say
It's
boundaries, like what do you mean exactly? Or like what are there any that you haven't like that you're thinking of like specifically?
I guess like, you know, one thing there, you know, Kesaia just said, hey, look, I'm going to these football games now. That's where I'm at. Deal with it. I say that so bluntly, but obviously, you know, she was able to
Yeah.
put it in a way where I'm like, okay, that's it, you know. And I hate for it to come across as possessive in any way. But, you know, I didn't know. I didn't know where she was. I did, you know, she didn't have a phone
Yeah,
at
because
the
it's hard, like
time.
basically if we're not being online, if I'm not on my computer or like on a phone, which I didn't have at the time, we're not together at that time. Because that's our together time, is texting each other and like staying in contact. So like I acknowledge that to him, you know, it's like, you can see why it bothers you. I don't like it either, not texting you, but I also want to go do other things.
You needed you time, yeah.
Yeah, ooh, that's another thing, you time. Especially like us, like we're together all the time. His desk, like you saw, is like right over there. But especially in like those first years too, you're like, we're like this. I am with him, he is with me. But you have to keep yourself. You can't be like, you know, if you did break up, it can't be like you're nothing without them. So you have to, I just feel like, especially like at that like couple year mark early at the beginning, just remember to maintain yourself, you know, don't drop off all your friends. Don't lose who you are in becoming a couple.
Yeah.
Maybe even now, you know, still take time for ourselves, you know, like days where I just go downstairs and do stuff with my sister instead of staying up here all day with you. You have like your walks. So if you have to, like, in our case, like, you know, we have to like make us like our self time.
Yeah.
Both me times. I don't know how to phrase that.
Yeah.
But you know, that has also helped us like feel better because we don't have to feel like, you know, we're suffocating each other.
Yeah.
And also being okay with your partner needing me time. As fun as it is to like cling to them and know where they are all the time and text constantly and send pictures and do everything together. You know, like with the football game, you know, learning how to let them still be their own person and still do the things they were doing before they met you, or new things that they're into that you might not have expected. Now you'd want the same for you. That's what I keep going back to. Like for me, it's like that golden rule stuff where it's like I treat him how I'd want to be treated, with like respect, you know. He's like, you know, he's a loud guy. And early on he kind of had like yelling problems, or if he was doing something intense and on a video game and I'd like try to talk him, he'd be like, what? And I'm like, I'm not okay with being spoken to like that. And the first like reasoning that comes to mind for me, like he's like, what's the big deal? I'm like, I would never speak to you like that. Because why, like, you know, it's like a respect love thing. I love you. I don't want to yell at you.
Yeah.
And just being, it's also, I think, the Cuban. It took a while, but he learned. And I also like that, that he was willing to. He wasn't just like, no, you're stupid and overreacting. Never done any of that. No gaslighting here.
No.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be comfortable with yourself before you can be comfortable with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
It's, yeah, I mean, I think we just met so young to where that was, I don't know, that wasn't really something I think that either of us thought about.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it would, if we ever broke up, for example, I would definitely have to do some major reassessing of myself, is, what, I guess maybe that's getting on to another point, but definitely being okay with you yourself before you can be okay with someone else.
Yeah, I feel like if you're not comfortable with yourself, if you can't like give yourself love, you kind of like project that stuff onto your partner. So if you think you're fat, whenever they look at you, you're gonna think, oh, they're thinking I'm fat, and just like all kinds of things like that. Or like if you worry like a ton about cheating, like I've had to get my sister, she's like constantly stressing about it. And I'm like, that just don't even, obviously, like if you see something going on, it's like actually suspicious, I'm not saying, just ignore the red flags, but don't go
looking for red flags.
Don't expect that. Gosh, like words are hard. Basically it's just like if you love yourself, it's kind of like, it's like with like even just like a self-confidence thing, when you stop judging other people, or like when you stop judging yourself and thinking like the worst of yourself, like, oh, I look like crap, I do this, you stop thinking that about other people. You're not worried about them like judging you. Like I don't ever worry about Derek. I'm like, some days I have a day where I just need a day in bed. I'm just on my phone in bed for a day. I feel like crap. I'm like, I should have been productive, but I know Derek isn't over there like, oh my gosh, she's so lazy. What the hell? I don't think you're ever thinking like anything bad of me. And it's made everything like so much more relaxing, stress-free. Because of all the things that like life is already so stressful, having to worry about if love of my life is not loving me, that's, I don't know, I can't imagine dealing with that. So I'd recommend you, obviously, like self-confidence and like loving yourself is a lot easier said than done. But even if you don't fully love yourself yet, start to, because there's a reason your partner loves you. So that's another piece too. Just try to see yourself from their perspective, because like basically if you're saying if you don't love yourself, you're saying the reasons they love you are invalid or aren't good reasons. That's how I like had to reason with myself through it.
Right.
Like example, like he likes that I'm nurturing, he loves me for that, and it's like nurturing is some like that's a good quality to like. You have that, you can like that about yourself,
right? Right.
Versus like being like, no, I'm not that nurturing, or I'm not this. So just stealing their reasons they love you for yourself. Not so much for new couples, but maybe people getting tired of their relationship, getting bored with someone, to just remind yourself why you fell in love with them. Because it's, especially like when you're together so long, it's like easy to start taking those things for granted. Like, yeah, like you're always kind and help people, but like recall those situations. Like Derek, like once again, being like kind and helpful is, he's a homeless guy outside of the gas station, me being trained, I'd be like, just don't look, ignore. Not that I don't feel bad or don't want to help the hopeless, but I just like, just stick to my business. That's what I was taught. And Derek's like, are you hungry? Yeah. And he just goes and just buys him some food, buys him a gallon of milk, buys him some whatever the stuff that he asked for. You won't give him money, but if they want some food, you won't hesitate to just do that for them. And like remembering things like that are just moments that reinforced why I loved him. Just keep those, you know, and remind yourself, because it's really easy to like get complacent and forget how great they really are.
It's really special. Oh my god, you guys, I'm gonna cry. Like,
you know, I guess to kind of piggyback off the communication part is even when, you know, she would be going through, you know, I just don't want to talk to you right now. It was a balancing act for me anyway. This is like, we've learned that's one thing, is we both learned so much together and about each other. And you know, when you spend that kind of time with somebody, that's something that you just, you know, it either works well together or it doesn't. You know, at least that, because you're going to be around each other so much, and you're either going to, and Kesaia kind of brought this up earlier, is, you know, when you're spending all this time with someone, you're either going to learn things about them you like or dislike. And the fact that we were able to just kind of seamlessly, you know, learn things about each other and find out how to navigate, you know, communicating with each other. Since there was no surprises really for either one of us, I think that's part of the reason why it works. And, you know, just one reason I love her that much more is because there wasn't any surprises.
Because I'm not surprising.
It's you know, I don't like surprises, so it worked out. What else? You know, this might be a kind of dated thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. I love that you're motherly. You know, anytime I'm not feeling well, you know, she always takes care of me, you know, because my mom always said, oh, no Tylenol, you need to, you know, get the Vicks Vapor, put it on.
No medicine, and I'm like, nope, take your cold medicine, lay in bed. I think maybe nurturing's a less dated word.
Nurturing, there we go. But you know, she's very nurturing, and she's the same way with her younger siblings, and seeing that, you know, it tells me that you know, God, I'm trying to find a 2022 way to say some of these
whatever
things.
you want. I mean, this is
There
your
really
interview.
isn't. But I know that she would make a great mom, and even from the earliest days of our relationship, you know, she always wanted, well, both of us. I mean, we both wanted kids, but I always knew she'd be a good mom, and that was something that you know, I would really look for in a partner. So, you know, being able to see that she embodies that so well is one reason I love her a lot. What else can I say here? I guess this kind of goes back to our kind of conflict resolution side, is I always love the fact that after we would have our argument or whatever, I think her being willing to hear me out was really something I valued a lot, is because my mom can be overwhelming at times, and I was coming from, you know, a previous living situation to where I would never be heard out. So to finally have someone kind of hear my opinion on an issue was like, wow, you know, this is nice. Someone will at least listen to me. And, you know, no matter where it went from there, I always knew that we could find a resolution together.
Oh my God.
You're nurturing, you love me unconditionally, and, you know, it's so easy to return the favor.
And another like random little thing I like is how like well-spoken he is.
Very eloquent.
I'm an or an and give me a moment. Speaking does not come naturally. I took debate, still not. I just always think it's funny. Like I can hear like when you're talking to someone and your voice gets immediately more animated.
Oh,
It's a good thing.
is it?
Yeah.